Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. School, honored guests, please stand.
Please be seated.
Good morning. I understand that today's events seem rather strange. It is traditional to have a Founders' Day recognition on this day, every year. And it's unfortunate, given the times, there are certain restrictions on doing so. And what we've tried to do here is ensure that we have no more than 100 people in each venue. And given that the hall has 3 separate venues, that would be why we split up in the way in which we are at present. Welcome, honoured guests, members of the Old Boys Association, members of staff, rest of the school. Towards the end of 1909, 111 years ago, the Rondebosch Boys High School Union, today the Old Boys Union, came into being. 4 years later, at the suggestion of the union, it was decided to institute a foundation day and a full day's cricket match between past and present members of the school was arranged. The first of these took place on the 13th of March 1913. Today, 107 years later, we once again celebrate this day, as they felt some 16 years after the start of the school that a day should be set aside on which to celebrate and give thanks. So we today, and at other events this week, look back in gratitude to the men who had the vision and the courage to start the school, and give thanks to the many people, teachers, old boys, parents, and the boys who have built the school into what it is today. And we dedicate this assembly to their memory. We begin our Founders' Day assembly with a lesson from the New Testament by Alex White.
The lesson today comes from Philippians 4, verse 8 to 9. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lowly, whatsoever things are of good report. If there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Those things which ye have both learned and received and heard and seen in me, do, and the God of peace shall be with you.
Please bow your heads for the Founders' Prayer. O God, who through love and labour of many has built a proud heritage here, and crowned our school with honour and length of days, for these your gifts we thank you for past achievements and future hopes, asking that both we and all who follow after us may learn to live and work together in unity, to build the school with humility, and to serve our fellow men and our country. Amen. At this point in the proceedings, it is traditional for us to have a presentation from the Old Boys Union. We are fortunate to have with us today Mr. Mike Probin, the chairman of the union, and he will present the Sydney Mason Award, an annual award to a significant old boy group or a person who has given service to the community. I now ask Mr. Probin to address you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Simpson, and good afternoon to the staff, boys, and old boys. In 2009, during the Old Boys Union centenary celebration, the Mason Award was established in memory of Mr. Sidney Mason. Mr. Mason was Rondebosch's second headmaster and the founder of the Old Boys Union, and he developed a small fledgling school into one of the leading schools in South Africa. His legacy at Rondebosch continues today in the school colours, the school song, and our motto of Altius et Latius. During his time as head, he also oversaw the expansion of the school and boarding facilities and the development of the school fields. Mr. and Mrs. Mason had no children of their own and were regarded with great affection by the hundreds of boys that came through their care. And this earned him the nickname of Dad, and it's why this award is called the Dad Mason Award. During the First and Second World Wars, Dad Mason selflessly took on the task of keeping in contact with over 2,100 old boys who fought in the wars. Sadly, 175 old boys and staff died during these wars, and he, having personally known each of them, took on the task of compiling the biographies that you see in the foyer of the hall today. He was also very involved with the fundraising for the building of this hall we are in today, which was built in their memory. Mr. Mason was a selfless and humble man who loyally served Rondebosch for 51 years, and his legacy lives on today in the proud Rondebosch values of respect, service, and excellence. Previously, the Mason Award has been made to Reverend Peter Story, who was an anti-apartheid activist and the chaplain for Mr. Nelson Mandela, as well as well-known old boy Mr. Dennis Nick. Posthumous awards have been made to Mr. Mason himself, Professor Tinky Haynes, Mr. Paul Akranji, and Mr. Carlton Lloyd. For many South Africans, an education with a matric certificate is a critical step to pulling themselves out of poverty. This year's Mason Award is made in honour and appreciation of the numerous people who, over a period of about 8 years, have made a huge difference to the lives of those less fortunate than themselves through the Transkei Outreach Project. Over the years, numerous Rondebosch boys and more recently girls from our neighbouring schools have made their 1,300-kilometre journey to a rural part of the Transkei to tutor boys and girls at Ishilomzi Secondary School as part of the outreach program. These journeys have been arranged and managed by Mr. Rowan Harmuth, Ms. Marion Wasdell, and Ms. Chantal Rens, who are here with us today. Mr. Harmuth is a former head of maths at Rondebosch and is the co-founder and driving force of this incredible outreach program. I would like to also acknowledge the many Rondebosch teachers and boys who have also accompanied these trips to share their expertise. In 2019, this group visited Transkei High School for the first time. And sadly, as we all know, the journey to the Transkei was not possible last year. The tutoring takes place over nearly 2 weeks, focusing predominantly on physical science, biology, maths literacy, and accounting. The aim is not just to increase the pass rate, but to improve each pupil's individual marks with the goal of getting them a bachelor's pass that will allow them to enter university. To provide an indication of the success and the impact that this program has had, Ishilomzi matric pass rate was around 40% in 2012, just when we started to work with it, and it soared to 100% in 2017 and has remained consistently in the high 90s since then. It was with much pride at the end of 2013 Ishilomzi sent their first matric to university, and by the end of the following year, 2014, 18 of their 48 matrics were admitted to Rhodes University. These successes have been repeated in subsequent years. This is a remarkable achievement for these students individually and an accolade to all those involved in the program. For interest, last year's Eastern Cape Bachelor's or University pass rate was 44%. Charlie and Ishilomzi received 59% and 67% respectively. Besides the obvious academic benefits, this program provides an opportunity for young men or young South Africans of different languages and cultures to interact, to get to know each other, and to learn from each other. Friendships and strong bonds have been developed between the Ishilomzi and Charlie pupils and their visitors from Cape Town. It is a humbling experience for Cape Town students to visit the Eastern Cape and realize how fortunate they are to receive such an outstanding education and to have access to such excellent facilities, while many South Africans have so little. Some of the pupils that the Rondebosch boys have met walk up to 10 kilometers a day to get to school, and despite adversity, they work incredibly hard with dedication and determination in the classrooms. This program, however, is not only about tutoring and teaching. Each year, the group of pupils from Cape Town will look for additional ways to support the community that they're visiting. And they've done this in many ways. They provided computers, books, stationery, desks, chairs, bookcases, water filters, solar lights, clothing and sports kit. They distributed clothing and fruit and sanitary pads to the local clinic. One year they helped a former pupil pay for his university fees so that he could continue studying, and found a generous donor to supply the raw materials to enable his parents to complete the upgrade of their humble home. Another year, they obtained dresses for all the Charlie girls so they could have a memorable matric dance. One year, they had a late night expedition where they had help with a significant medical emergency. And another time, we've donated 2 wheelchairs, one to an 86-year-old woman and another to a 16-year-old girl, who would otherwise only be able to move around their homes on the ground. The trips and extensive community support that take an enormous amount of meticulous organisation over many months and an extensive effort behind the scenes to make sure the trips are a success. This includes planning the accommodation and travel, persuading donors to help fund the program and donate clothes, equipment and stationery, and most importantly, to compile the study material, notes, worksheets and past exam papers with solutions to share with the students. Rondebosch as a school provides valuable assistance that without the efforts of Rowan, Marion and Chantal, the Transkei Project simply would not exist. Embodying the words of our school song of spreading a boundless charity, those involved with this program have unreservedly given so much of their time and expertise. It is therefore fitting that the Rondebosch Old Boys Union 2021 Dad Mason Award is made to the Transkei Outreach Project. Can I ask that Rowan, Marion and Chantal please come up to accept a small token of our appreciation.
It has become custom to invite a head boy or significant fellow student from 10 years before to be with us to address us at the Founders Day Assembly. This year it is Mr Giovanni Hofmeyer, Deputy Head Boy of Mason House 2011. Before I go any further, it's also Giovanni's birthday today. So happy birthday. Giovanni matriculated with a Bachelor Pass in 2011, having served as Deputy Head Boy at Mason House and as a member of the first rugby team and captain of the athletics team. At school he received a distinction award for athletics, colours for rugby and was selected for Western Province Under-19 Academy squad. Giovanni went on to graduate in 2015 with a BA in Social Dynamics from Stellenbosch University with a triple major in political science, sociology and public and development management. In 2016, he completed a BCom Honours in Public Administration. In 2017, he began working at Meltwater, who are the global leaders in media intelligence and the world's first online media monitoring company. Giovanni is the country manager for Nigeria at Meltwater. This year, he co-founded a tech startup, Solace. Giovanni's school testimonial uses the words intelligent, positive, likeable, and supportive to describe him, while in his CV, he sums himself up as passionate about sports, people development and continuous learning. All of these traits are immediately apparent when you meet and engage with Giovanni, and we look forward to hearing his thoughts at this celebration of Founders Day.
Thanks so much for the introduction, Mr. Simpson. Good afternoon, gentlemen. What a pleasure it is to be here. I must say, on a day-to-day basis, I deal with a number of different C-level executives, CEOs, all across Africa. But coming back to Rondebosch and seeing the young gentlemen here, along with some of my friends that I went to school with, as well as my teachers, it's quite a daunting task, it's quite nerve-wracking. But nevertheless, thanks so much for having me today. It's really amazing to think that 10 years have passed since I walked the corridors of Rondebosch. Coming from Kirstenhof Primary on a rugby scholarship, fast forward 5 years, matriculated, and now 10 years later, I'm back here on stage at Rondebosch. Time flies when you're having fun, as they say. I feel really honoured and privileged to come and speak with you guys today, representing the gentlemen of E11. As Mr. Simpson mentioned, it's normally customary for the head boy to come and speak on behalf of the year from 10 years before. However, my dear friend William Keat, he was a head boy, he couldn't make it today, and he actually gave me a call and nominated me to come and speak on behalf of E11. An absolute privilege. It's amazing to see that 10 years later, as I mentioned, I still see some of my teachers. I see Mr. Snowman there. I see some of my friends that I was in school with, Mr. Zeman right here. And along with some of the old boys, some of my friends that I was at school with that are now teachers. It's really, really nostalgic, shall I say. Since I left Rondebosch, I've always had this vision that I would want to come back and give back to the school, but I just didn't know how. 2 years ago, Dr. Thiervis gave me a call, and he actually asked me to come speak at a leadership day for the then grade 11s that were going to matric. At that time, when I spoke about leadership, I realized this is actually what I wanted to do. I realized that I wanted to come back to the school, come to the school hall, to the assembly, and speak to the future generation of Bosch boys. And now today, on my birthday, what a present to have. I finally realized one of my dreams that I've always wanted to do and complete. And today I thought I'd share a bit of my journey on Founders Day with you guys here at Rondebosch. So we each have our own unique story and experience at Rondebosch. For some, I hope my journey brings back a feeling of nostalgia, while for others, this may be a new outlook on how it was back then. Nevertheless, I hope this brings some form of inspiration to both the current boys at Rondebosch and Matric that are here, as well as the cricketers, as well as some of the old boys that know me quite personally. As I mentioned earlier on, I was actually a Carlton Lloyd scholarship boy, which at the time came with a lot of pressure. I still remember walking up to the school grounds the weekend before school started. Mr. Pina was still one of the housemasters at Canningo. I was really, really nervous. But so were the other 25 Mason House boys around with me before school started. School started as normal, the excitement levels were high, and I was meeting my future best friend that I never knew I'd have for the rest of my life. When I came to Rondebosch, I had a reputation of being quite a fast athlete before I came to the school. So at the first athletic trials, I felt an enormous amount of pressure to perform in front of my peers. My mindset at the time was pressure builds diamonds. In my first year, there were a number of athletics events that were coming up. I'm sure you guys will have experienced it in your day. Athletics, Triangular, Athletics Day. These were really exciting events for me. I still remember taking my first trip up to Paul in the bus. Wow, that was so exciting. That was the first bit of experience I've experienced with the Rondebosch years. It goes without saying, on my debut for Rondebosch at under 14, I ran the 100 meter, 200, 400 meter. I won all my races at Paul. That's where I actually laid the foundation to the person that I wanted to become at Rondebosch. After that, as you know, after Paul Athletics is the Rondebosch Athletics Day. We mentioned earlier on Prof. Tinky Haynes. I had the pleasure of actually being in his presence. I was probably the last grade 9 to be being passed in at Mason House before he passed on. I had Mr. Lachranji, who was very passionate about athletics, who I passed on. So there's a lot of legends that I looked up to that actually had an influence on my life, particularly when it came to athletics. My first athletics day, I ended up breaking 100 meter, 200 meter records as well as the under 15 400 meter record. For me, this set the foundation for my sporting career at Rondebosch. Pressure builds diamonds. In summer, it seemed that every week there was something to look forward to. There were always events that were happening on a weekly basis. We look at the athletics days, we look at the Newton's galas, the Mazinta Cups, the day and night crickets, the Rondebosch socials. These were all exciting things to look forward to, especially as Wasdell boys. Each year these events would happen and we'd have something to look forward to. What a time. Much like in summer, there were the events like in winter every week. Friday night hockey, Saturday morning rugbies, cabaret, Saturday night lives, and the list goes on and on. When it got to winter, however, the pressure started again. Being a rugby scholarship boy, the Carlton Road scholarship boy, this was where I actually needed to shine and perform. The year before, when I was actually 13, still at personal primary, I tore my ACL. The doctor said I'd never be able to play rugby again. I'd already received the scholarship at Rondebosch, and I was scared that my hopes and dreams of actually attending Rondebosch were going to be crushed. Fortunately, I had a strong support system around me, and I had the backing of the then deputy headmaster, Mr Rowan, that I would come back and perform at the highest level. It was on the rugby field where the most character was built for me. I learned many life lessons that still impact me today through playing a team sport like rugby. Grit, resilience, teamwork, humility, gratitude. These are the lessons that playing for Rondebosch allowed me to learn. The team of 2011 was one of the best teams to ever do it. We came 8th in South Africa, winning the Triple Crown, beating Bishops on the party, beating Paul Jim at Paul Jim, going to Pro Ruas and Rugby A, beating Grade PE in PE. I eventually went on personally to play Western Province in my matric year. But my biggest highlight in my rugby career was actually scoring the winning try against Bishops on the party. We won that game 34-18. Had I listened to the doctor when I was 13 years old, I can't help but think my path would have been different. Pressure builds diamonds. Academically and culturally, I wish I knew then what I know now. I was by no means a top 10 student in my year, but I did enjoy the process of learning and new experiences. I'm pretty sure that I gave a couple of teachers grey hairs in my day. Snowman, sorry about that. But one thing I always know is that all the teachers at Rondebosch worked to help you realize your full potential. All the feedback that they gave me was in my own best interest. I know that sometimes it may be hard to comprehend that, but guys, I promise you, all the teachers are here to help you and make you succeed. It was only after school that I realized these things. The importance of applying the principles of where my passions lie to things like academics, setting goals, putting systems in place to achieve these goals, making studying fun, reading books. It was only last year, honestly, that I actually started reading books properly, books on mindset, psychology, attitude, grit, resilience, and it changed my whole outlook on life. Putting these principles in place allowed me to succeed at university and got me to where I am today. Walking into any job interview with my old boy style, that already gets me one foot in the door. The deep-rooted foundation that Rondebosch had instilled in me allowed me to walk into any challenge with the utmost confidence. Today, I find myself working for a global media intelligence company where I'm the Nigerian country manager. On Monday, I just launched my own tech company with my brother called Solace Connect, which speaks to our motto, always striving to move higher and wider. If I could leave you guys with one bit of advice for today. I wasn't a prefect at Rondebosch, but I did think of myself as a leader. Dare to lead. If you are not playing a team sport at the moment, enroll in a team sport. If you are not enrolled in a cultural society, enroll in a cultural society. Take yourself out of your comfort zone. If you are not performing academically, set goals for yourself. Daily, weekly, monthly. By putting these correct systems in place to achieve your goals, at the end of the year you'll look back and you'll be like, how did I do that? These are the best years of your life. Enjoy every moment and cherish the friendships and memories that you make here at school. One day you too will hopefully be able to come back to the school and present like this and really reach higher and wider. All the best for the year ahead, guys, and I hope to see you sometime soon. Always remember, pressure builds diamonds. I was also allowed to explain.
Thank you so much for coming to speak to us today. Your message of involvement, especially on your birthday. This is the Matrix last Founders Day. Whether we've had 12, 5 or 1 Founders Day, I think we will all remember that pressure builds diamonds. So thank you so much.
Very much, Giovanni. I hope you noticed that Mr. Snellman has no hair. We're going to stand for the school song. We're not supposed to sing it, but it will be played as we stand. Of the time we're living in is that I anticipate when the new Gazette comes out this weekend, we'll be able to sing the school song on Monday. Hopefully that will come. Thank you.